Hey everybody, this is Malcontent Theology coming back to you from across the interwebs. We are trying to do our best to be good citizens, which, if you know our work, is really difficult for us to imagine ourselves as. Um, but we think um, that, particularly in light of everything that's going on with COVID 19, we're going to keep doing these things across time and space. So just again, as a reminder, I'm Christopher Adams, and we have
Michael Drinkwater, and
we,
we've often said too. Well, one of the cool things about doing this sort of outside of time and space is that Christopher and I don't actually get to see each other in person all that frequently anymore. So it's been good to hang out together, and we've been talking more throughout the week too. And so there are some blessings to being more intentional about meeting outside of time and space.
yeah, it is nice. As I mentioned last week, we are friends, not just partners in theological crime. Dude, that's got to be a T-shirt, man. But
Yep.
yes, that's a T-shirt.
Partners in theological crime. I
Yeah.
dig it.
And just as a reminder, anything that we say is not representative of our parent organizations in our respective church tradition. This is just all our own stuff, and we are here trying to make sense of it. Um, Speaking of sense, last week we talked about sort of what church is like in this new age where so much is online, and you wanted to kind of kick us off with something from your own experience. So why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Chris. So, when I was going through the videos last week and parsing them up to post online, I realized that I kept railroading Christopher as he um, because he really wanted to take us to what our topic is, what we're going to talk about today. But I really wasn't ready to go there. And it wasn't intentional, and it's not something that I normally do. But I realized in sort of a very uncomfortable way that I was not willing to talk about God's presence in digital space last week. But now that we've had a chance to lay a little more of the groundwork, and if you haven't watched our videos from last week, I would certainly recommend going back and doing that. Um, Not that they're any good, but that they provide background for this conversation.
Dude, by the end of this, we are all going to be Oscar-winning producers, man.
Yeah, right. And so we're tackling that head on this week because I'm not sure if you're familiar with us at Malcontent Theology, but we always lean into where it hurts.
Mhm.
We don't shy away from uncomfortable and sometimes painful theological reflection. So,
Especially when those pain spots are our own, right?
yeah,
We're not just interested in poking other people's theologies. We're interested in grappling with our own sore spots too.
yeah, definitely. And if I wasn't, I would have suggested some other topic for this week.
That's fine.
So,
So, I mean, one of the things I think that we're all struggling with is we are so used to being embodied, right? Like embodied together. I mean, because we're always embodied people wherever we are, even as we're doing this. I'm embodied where I am, you're embodied where you are. But as church, we're used to doing that together. So, as a gathered people, as an assembly, our bodies connecting with other people's bodies, with the body of Christ, both in the people and in the Eucharist. And suddenly all that's been taken away. So this really is getting at the heart of like, what does it mean to be the embodied people of God when we can't gather together? And we started going down this strain of, well, can we begin to envision spaces like this, right? Zoom meetings of friends talking, families are doing it. Both of us are streaming our services online. Um, can are we willing to talk about that as embodiment or material space of a different sort, right? Um, because I think we're used to thinking of digital things, social media, those kinds of connections as strictly non-material, non-embodied. And then for us, because our theology is so rooted in God's embodied presence, it, those things can't come together. And so for me, a lot of what I'm trying to rethink about is, can we think of this digital sojourn, so to speak, this
Hmm.
digital time as an extension of materiality rather than something wholly different? Um,
Yeah, and
and
that's super uncomfortable. One of the buzzwords that we threw around a lot when I was in seminary, sort of comparing Anglican theology to other branches of theology, is that we're a very incarnational church. Um, and, uh, and so, the how do we approach digitality from a way that is also, can we approach digitality and incarnation in an incarnational way,
mhm.
and what does that mean, and can we lay some groundwork here um, for how to do that? And yeah, we're we're in free fall right now, so we're working this out as we go along.
Yeah, as we're talking, like I'm thinking of like this is the time for some science fiction writer with a religious bent to write a story about the incarnation in the digital age. Like if the pre-existent logos of the three-person Trinity became incarnate now, would they be exclusively like a talking head in a digital space? Um,